This float, designed by Scott Cusham, Gavin Nash, Keith Brooks, and Ty Porter, features the literary period of realism, which took place between 1850 and 1899.
Realism sought to portray real and typical situations with truth and accuracy. Some characteristics from this period is that they avoided romanticism and chose to focus on the present and not the other time periods. This literary period differs from romanticism in many ways, including being the exact opposite of what romanticism is.
This is because the realists rejected the idolized, larger-than-life romantic hero, and instead liked to portray people that they were real, flawed, and complex. This didn't mean all the stories and events are realistic. It just meant that the stories focus on experiences that relate to average people and the reality of life.
A popular author at this time was Mark Twain. He wrote The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and he also wrote The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
A really important part of this time period was the Civil War, which really showed realism because of all the harsh realities like death and disease. A lot of the medical procedures of the time were not very good. And so this battle focuses on Little Round Top and many others.
Following the Civil War came a time of Reconstruction. During this time, attempts were made to redress the inequalities of slavery and its political, social, and economic legacy. Black Americans would also continue to be subjected to terrorism, Jim Crow, and lynchings in the years to come. Also during this time, many inventions helped speed urban growth, allowing for taller buildings, more efficient factories, and better transportation.
The Civil War is being portrayed on this float. And as you can see, this is the Battle of Little Round Top with Chamberlain with the sword and his very nice mustache. And they're up on the hill, and they were defending against the rebels or Confederates, which is the guy that's zooming up on right now. And yeah, that's smoke coming out of his gun, not cotton. Life for women was changing a lot during the time. They were getting rights over property, earnings, and children. With the Native Americans, they were losing rights, losing land and battles. Though they won Custer's Last Stand / Battle of Little Bighorn, that increased tensions between the groups. Life for Chinese Americans wasn't looking good. There were 20,000 Chinese immigrants, and they worked on the Transcontinental Railroad with not good conditions, and that outside the Chinese Exclusion Act in 1882. And yeah, that wasn't good for them either. Life for Black Americans was looking up. They gained the right to vote with the Civil War, and slavery was outlawed. Stop there. Another part of this time period was regionalism, which is when you had two groups, the North and South in this case, and they were very divided, and that showed itself in writing with terms like the word y'all would be used in Southern books, and so they could differ depending on the region that they were from.
Naturalism was influenced by Darwinism, which was from Darwin, and it talks about the nature and society of himself. So in conclusion, we have taught you guys that realism was day-to-day life, and it changed how the writing perspective was in the 1800s, because before that it was naturalism and romanticism, and those were fantasizing how people lived and traits of life. But realism showed that not everything is fancy and a hero ending and stuff like